Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. As my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Today is the final video. We are going to focus on the mittens and the arms. They're all very similar to each other. The arm lengths are slightly different from each other, but you can just change things if you would prefer to be more standard to each other. The way the mittens are formed, we've already done the thumbs before, so you have that information. I decided to leave mine off on the final sample. It was just my own personal choice. And then how you start is basically the same for all of them. So today we're gonna get yourself started, and when you start the mittens you're gonna think, okay, this is actually kind of hard, but because I've done all three at the same time, I realized that there's actually a pattern, so I wasn't so manic about following the instructions as carefully as like checking the list off as I went. So I'm gonna be giving you those tips today, and we're gonna be using the smaller hook of the two sizes and whatever size or color mittens that you decided. If you already did your thumbs, then the thumbs probably should match the mittens. Your call. So as you take a look at the instructions, it's been slightly changed since we've done this, because I'm working my way through and finding any things errors that I have in here. Now the errors weren't from the designer itself, it was just me trying to get the layouts and making sure that I pasted and copied properly. So what you're going to notice is that all the rounds that we have all the way to round number 13 is the same for all of the characters. So it's the top, it's the actual mitt itself without the thumb, and then right where the cuff with the white, that's where they all stop at that point, and then they all take a different path. So we're gonna be talking about that, and I also will give you tips, especially here on those striped arms, where if we do it right, then you won't see any slip stitching involved in those as well, and the rest of them are done as a continuous circle. Okay, enough chitter chatter, let's get at her. Let's start the base of the mittens. So we're gonna get started. Have a stitch marker ready for you, and you can either do a magic circle or you can do the chain 2. I've been doing the chaining 2, but I have been closing in off the tops for most of the stuff that is very visible. So I am going to chain 2, and then we're gonna put 6 single crochet, second chain from the hook, and we want to mark the very last one with a stitch marker. So at this point in the series, everything's been kind of the same, the way we've done the noses and other things. And you don't hear me counting because I've been doing this so much that I can feel when I have 6 it's like the force or something. So I have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put in your stitch marker. This is the end of the hand, so you're going to make sure that there is no open space. So in my case I have a small little circle there, so I'm just gonna turn it over, and I'm gonna plop in the, that's technical crochet language today. I'm just going to seal it with the tapestry needle, just going across like we had been before, and just pull that shut. You'll want to do it now and then wait and regret it later. So just get it done and be over with. So just close it and then just seal it off, and this will be on the inside of the mitten anyway. Okay, so let's get rid of that and let's move on to round number 2. So let's officially start round number 2. So if you look to the 6th one back, that's the first one. So the first one is going to have 2 single crochets in it. We're creating an oval shape, so this is like a quarter of an oval, and it'll make sense in just a few moments. So the next one is gonna be one by itself. It's gonna be a little bit tight just to get yourself started, and then it will loosen off a little bit. So that was one by itself, and then the next 2 have 2 into each one of those. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. The next one is one by itself, and the one with the stitch marker has 2 single crochets in it. So let's talk about the oval shape, because if you understand it, it'll make a lot more sense for you. So when we started we did 2 single crochets, and when we finished we had 2 single crochets. So this is the end of the oval shape. On this side here we had 2 and 2, and those are the other side that's turning. So the stuff in the middle will stay as single crochets, and you'll notice that as we progress. Let's move on to round number 3. So round number 3, we're gonna start off immediately. We're gonna put 2 single crochets in there, so we're keeping that oval shape going. And now the next 3 are going to be single crochets. So 1, 2 and 3. And if I could pause for a second, last time there was only 1 single crochet that separated the edges. This time it's 3, the next time it'll be 5, and then the next time after that will be 7. So just remember that. So I will get there anyway. So we've just done 3, and now there's 2 single crochets in a row. If you can understand that growth, it'll be a lot easier for you to comprehend. So 2 single crochets were in each in the next 2. So the next 3 are by itself, and then the one that is marked with the stitch marker is the other half of the 2 into the same one. And let's move that stitch marker up and move on to round number 4. In round number 4 we're moving on, so we're gonna put 2 into the first one, 1 and 2, and now this time it's 5 in a row that it's gonna be by itself. We talked about that increase, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and now the next 2 in a row are 2 into each. And now the next 5 are by itself. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then finally the last one here is 2 into the same one. And that will conclude that row, or that round, sorry, and we're going to move on to round number 5 next. In round number 5 we're just going to go to the next one. So we're gonna start up and we're gonna put 2 into the same one. I should move that last stitch marker up while I'm here as well, just to make sure that I'm keeping a count. I am counting as I'm going around anyway, but that's beside the point. So the first one has 2 in there, and now the next 7 are by itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And now the next 2 in a row are 2 into each. And now the next 7 in a row are by itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then the very last one has 2 into the same one. So that will conclude off round number 5. Move up your stitch marker, and the next 4 rows are just really quite easy as we maintain this pattern at this time. Now rounds number 6, 7, 8 and 9 are just 1 single crochet in each of the stitches. There should be a total of 22 stitches all the way around. You will want to verify that just in case you think you've gone off. So every time you pass the stitch marker, just move up the stitch marker and then just check it off on your list. So do rounds number 6, 7, 8 and 9. It's just 1 single crochet in each, and you will notice that the mitten will really start taking its shape at this time. So please do 6, 7, 8 and 9. So now I've done 6, 7, 8 and 9, and now we're gonna do 2 rounds actually of a decrease, and then the third round of a decrease is gonna be major. So let's begin. The first 9 from where we are going to be 1 single crochet. Let's count those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Now the next 2 are going to be coming together. So just do single crochet 2 together. And now the next 9 are by itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. And if your stitch count is right, the next one plus the one that's marked with the stitch marker are your last one, and those are 2 together right at the very end. And that was round number 10. So move your stitch marker up and let's move on to round number 11 in just a moment. Next round, number 11. This time it's going to be 8 in a row first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and then put the next 2 together. And then do the next 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and so the last 2 are there, and we'll be putting those together as well. Okay, that was round number 11. Let's move on to round number 12, which will be the final of this color. Okay, round number 12 is a major decrease, so the next one is one single crochet by itself, and then the next two are together. And the next one's one by itself, and the next two are together, and you're gonna do that all the way around. And when you get all the way around, you're just going to slam in the last two together, and that's just a matter of keeping a count. You're now going to fasten this off, this color, and don't stuff it quite yet, but you just want to just cut it so that you can weave in this end. And all I would just do is just secure it and pull on it real tight. Take out your stitch marker, you're not gonna need that at this time, and then just tuck in that tail inside the mitten, and when you go to stuff it, you can just leave it all intact inside and you'll never see it. So please do that, and we're gonna move on to adding the white cuffing next. We're gonna be adding the white cuffing, and it's like we did the top of the box when we did that, also like when we did the outfits at the neckline. So what we're going to do here is just fold it flat. It naturally wants to flatten where you've been doing the oval shape. So you're going to go to the opposite side into the back loop. Sorry. I had Subway for lunch and I'm kind of riffing on it. So okay, so we're just gonna pull through. Not that you needed to know that, but anyway. So you want to chain two, doesn't count as anything, and staying on the back loop only, you want to circle all the way around. The wonderful thing about this is because it's fluffy, if you are not totally accurate, you're never gonna notice. So staying in the back loop only, just crochet over top of that straggler just for a few times, and then what you can do is just take the rest of the straggler and tuck it in the inside, but it could be confusing, so you can either tuck it on the inside, and if you've gone right over it, you can just snip it now, get that out of your way, and then you don't have to think twice about it. So circle all the way around on the back loop only, and just take your time, and it takes a little bit of delicacy in order to do it at least the first time, and I'll see you at the end of this round. When you get all the way around, make sure everything's filled in, or at least looks like it's filled in, and just slip stitched. And now you're just going to snip that just long enough that you can throw it through a tapestry needle to hide that in. The next part is going to be a little bit fumbly the first few times you try it, but once you get used to it, it's actually not bad. And we're going to begin, and this is where the pattern will take a divergent then from it, but they all start off in the same way. So let's just get rid of this, just go back and forth inside with the tapestry needle, and then we'll move on to the next part. So we're going to move on to the round 14. Now they all start on the same way, start at the same way. So what we have to do is peel back this cuff, and we have to expose the remaining loop that's there. Because this next row is going to be hidden by this cuff, even if you're not accurate, you're not gonna see it. So just keep it flat and just kind of get to where you think around the halfway mark is, and that's where you're going to start it. Mine particular arms, I had actually 13 stitches all the way around. It should only be 12, but I had screwed up halfway through the arm and I realized it, and so I decided to keep them all 13. So you can change anything at this point because you won't see that there's a difference. So you're just going to just do a standing single crochet in there. The tail you can just tuck inside of the mitt, and therefore it'll be out of the way, and once you stuff it as well. So you're gonna want to stuff it after you get this started. Okay, so you're just going to equally go around as a single crochet on the exposed loop. Peel things back if you don't see it. If you can't see it and you insist that it's not there, there's nothing stopping you from putting 2 stitches into the same loop because you won't see it. Okay, so I want a total, it says 12, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I'm gonna keep it to the pattern this time. So I want to just verify that. So I will count now, and just to verify, but then I'll recount again. So after we get started. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then go to the first single crochet and slip stitch. Here's the key factor, and this is where they all change at this point. So you're gonna turn your work, and now if you were working on the reindeer and or Santa Claus, it's now a continuous circle until you're done. It is very, very easy to count the number of rows without having to move up a stitch marker. That's why I didn't have you put one in. So what you're looking for is that you're gonna continue to circle, 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 just single crochet. I would count once in a while just to make sure that you are getting your 12. In my case it was 13. But then just keep on going, and it's about 25 rounds for Santa Claus. For the actual reindeer it was only 19. But what I decided to do to keep them all consistent is that they all have 25 rounds, including the elf. So for those moving on to Santa Claus or the reindeer, all you're just going to do is just crochet yourself in an endless circle until you can physically count that there's 25 rounds. You're going to want to just do a few rounds, and then you're gonna want to stuff the mitten, and then keep on lightly stuffing as you go, and by the time you get it, it'll be about that long. And that's all you have to do. So for the elf, this is what's gonna change. For the elf, what you need to do is that you need to count the number of rows. So what I decided to do for myself is that there is 4 rounds of red, so which includes this one. Then it goes to 4 rounds of green, then 4 rounds of red, and etc. And you'll see that in the pattern. The trick is you don't want to see that slip stitch, so we're gonna do it like we did with the hat. So now that we've turned, we're just going to chain up 1, and you are just going to do your single crochet all the way around. So I wanna do the slip stitching like we did it with the elf hat, where we're gonna hide in the slip stitching by just doing that little technique that I showed you on the hat way back when. So what I want you to do is just single crochet around, and I'll see you back here in just a second. So off camera I've already done my count, so this is technically the 12th one, which is the last stitch. What I'm going to do is that I'm gonna go into that one, and I'm gonna go in and pull it, and I'm gonna go into, remember we chained 1 when we started, when we did the elf? Then what I'm gonna do is just go into the space and pull through, and then pull through all 3 loops. So we're bringing that space together with this number 12, so that there's no holes that will exist in this. If you were doing the Santa Claus or you were doing the reindeer, instead of doing what I'm doing, you'll just continually just crochet around and around. So you'll ignore slip stitching altogether and just do that. You can't do that with the elf here because the elf has stripes. So this is 2 rows of 4. So just chaining up 1 and just doing 1 single crochet in each all the way around again, and I'll see you at the end of this round, and then I'm gonna show you how to change color in just a few moments from now. So I'm coming all the way around again. Truthfully, I'm counting my stitches as they're going, and I put the space and the last stitch together as one so that I don't end up with a gap, and then I slip stitch to the beginning. So this is the 3rd round of 4. So we're gonna just chain up 1 and do 1 more circling of this, and then we'll change the color to green to match the striping of the elf, and I'll see you back here in just a second. So I'm all the way back around again, so I'm just coming in the last one plus the gapping space, bring it together, and then just attach it to the first one. Now this is the end of this color, so we're going to just cut the yarn. I didn't find any good ways to be able to carry that, so let's just cut it and pull on it tight, and then tuck this end inside, and I would start stuffing your mitten at this point. Kinda looks like a Christmas light at this point. And now we're gonna grab our next color. So the next color in this case will be green. So you just start right where you stopped. Now when you go to start, keep it flat like this. Even if it's stuffed, you'll be able to notice which is flat, and you want the seam line to always follow up in the same side. So when it's holding the pot, it's gonna be on the inside, and so when people are looking at the outside, they'll never see it. So when you go to attach, just go in, keep it on the hook already, and then pull through a loop, and then pull through this 2 loops, and that's a standing single. And you're going to make sure that you can count all the way around. So 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and you can tuck in this end. I cut that way too long. So it's 5. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is the 12th. So do you see this is the space that leads into this one? So this is the 12th, so I'm going in, I'm catching the space and bringing it together so it can hide it, and then you just attach. So you technically have to do 4 rounds of the green and then switch back and do 4 rounds of red. Full disclaimer on mine, I actually did 4 here, and then the remaining all the way until the very last section were just sets of 3, and by doing that it kept it to the 25 number that we talked about before. And so all the characters that I have, all of the arms are the same length. So if you want to follow Michelle's pattern as is, there's nothing wrong with it. So do 4 rows of this green, so you have 1 done already, 3 rows of red, and etc., and you can follow that in the pattern. So let's talk about holding that pot. So this will be stuffed, and this is the seam line, so when I go to put it to the character it'll be stuffed, and I will sew it so this here is being attached to the section that's in the box. Okay, do you see it there? So it'll be attached like this, so it'll be much longer. This pot here, what I decided to do for myself, I'll just show you, is that the pot was already done. We did that I think in the second video, and I'm just going to put in a strand on the hand like this. And what I did is that I fed the 2 strands through the pot itself, and then once I fed those in I tied it into a bow tie, and then I cut any extra yarn that was left off of it. This would allow me then to just pull the bow tie off if I have to, if I want to remove the pot at some point, and it's a way that the hand kind of holds on to the pot as well. So it's a very simplistic way of holding the pot, and everything keeps it quite stable. So hopefully it's clear enough, and if you have any questions by all means you can always ask, and this concludes our series for today.